Now here in the Philippines, Philippine movie distributors are notorious for, delaying December releases, so we don't really get December movies until the year after. But the plus side to being in the Philippines is that, the summer blockbusters, we get them pretty early. Captain America the Winter Soldier is directed by Anthony Russo and Joe Russo, written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and stars Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel L. Jackson, Robert Redford, and tons of other people. Now, Captain America the Winter Soldier sees Steve Rogers kind of trying to assimilate back into society. He's getting a hang of it, though. He's really trying to find his place in society, and that place is with S.H.I.E.L.D. He's now a full-fledged agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., kind of, and he's going off on missions and things, when one day a conspiracy starts brewing against people like him, people like Nick Fury, and it becomes clear that maybe there are members of S.H.I.E.L.D. who are compromised, and there are people who are out to get them, like I said, and the person who's deployed to go after them is the Winter Soldier. Now, you know how you go into the Dark Knight thinking that's going to be a Batman movie, then you come out and realize it was like this huge crime thriller thing. Kind of the same case with the Winter Soldier here. You come in thinking you're going to watch another, Marvel movie, a Captain America movie. You come out and you realize you just saw this political thriller, this spy movie. It feels really a lot like Mission Impossible, and I'm happy to say this is actually the darkest and most gritty Marvel movie we have so far in this entire universe. That's what I love about this movie, the fact that it really does feel like part of the universe now. I mean, Thor obviously took place on another planet, so, it doesn't really feel like it affects the other characters. And Guardians of the Galaxy coming out later this year, also, I don't think it's gonna do that either. And I gotta say, this is the best Marvel movie since the Avengers. It's really up there. I'd say it's in my top three of this entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is just so good and works so well because it feels like a standalone movie. Okay, but let's get into it. First of all, the CGI here is great, of course, but what's better about the CGI is the fact that there's less of it. And I'm not saying the CGI is bad, it's just that it's so refreshing to see real action take place this time. And people actually doing stunts and actual fight choreography. It's amazing. And what that does when you have so much realistic stuff going on, when you do have CGI, it just looks even better. And overall, the aesthetic look of this movie is very slick. It's very real. It's also very dark. Like, there aren't really that many bright colors anymore. It's just lots of grays in this movie. And I guess that is representative of how, the times have progressed. Because in the first Captain America movie, it had bright colors with the Red Skull and Tesseract and, the greens of wartime. But here it really just concrete and metal. And I like that, just like the whole CGI realism thing, when you have so much, grays and stuff, when color happens, it it's really vivid, and that's true for like the violence here. The violence in this movie is actually really realistic. It's actually kind of painful to look at, and it's surprising that when I watched this, it was rated PG, and the violence here is actually pretty brutal. Like some of it, like you believe some of the makeup these guys have on. In terms of how this movie is paced, this movie is like 2 hours 10 minutes, and it just flies by completely. I did not even think of looking at my watch once. It was just really well paced. The action scenes are edited really well. You really get a sense of scale with these skirmishes. And what I love is that because this is like a political thriller, you have to, kind of set up the whole conspiracy thing, and you feel actual tension going into this. Like there are actual moments where you think, oh my gosh, I don't think they're gonna make it, or they actually might fail, or Marvel is actually choosing to do this to a certain character, and it's really great to see because that's the first time I've experienced this in this entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. In terms of sound design, on the other hand, it's also really good. I mean, you have so much real gunfire here and explosions and stuff, and that is again very refreshing, as opposed to like other Marvel movies that really do have that fantasy element here. Here, Captain America, again, doesn't really feel like a superhero movie. It really is just like this action thriller. It just happens to have a guy with a really big shield. They don't retain the old Captain America score, which I was kind of hoping they would, but the score is still fine because after all, it's a very different kind of movie. But let's get to the characters, and Marvel's really proven themselves to be like really masters of character, because that's the best thing about their movies, the characters. And here, characters just really just continue getting unraveled and pushed forward in really believable ways. Like, these people are human beings, and the characters of Steve Rogers and Black Widow, Nick Fury, they go through some things that they never went through before, and I really like that. They're not content with just keeping their characters the same the entire time. I mean, that's kind of a problem I have with Tony Stark. I mean, that is like really who he is. It's just that sometimes, it kind of gets tiring after a while just to see him react the same way. But here, Captain America starts challenging his beliefs. Black Widow is also having some sort of, moral dilemma. But it's not just the old characters. The new characters also, I think, are very welcome. Mainly Anthony Mackie, who plays Sam Wilson or the Falcon. He doesn't feel like a sidekick at all. I mean, in the fight scenes, obviously he's doing less, but he really does feel like his own person. And Robert Redford as Alexander Pierce, I think, he is very welcome also as a character. He fits into this world perfectly. But what I love so much about the writing here is that obviously there's so much political stuff going on, and they handle that really well because this isn't completely like real world politics. It's confined to like Marvel politics, and so it's understandable there. But what I love is at the end of the day, this really is a movie about trust. Like that's like the message of this movie. Like, who do you trust? Who do you decide to trust? Stuff like that. And I really, really like that. From beginning to end, even after all this political stuff, there is still this message that shines through. And again, I don't have to talk about actors anymore because, of course, like all the actors are great. I mean, Chris Evans, uh, Scarlett Johansson, Samuel L. Jackson. But what's interesting about their characters this time is that they are all very vulnerable this time around, and they show that really well. There's a scene where Chris Evans is supposed to look bewildered about, something that is revealed to him, and you completely buy it. He looks absolutely shocked. And characters like Nick Fury, who you thought were just like strong all the time, they get pretty beaten up in this movie. I also really enjoy the relationship between Black Widow and Captain America. There's this whole will they won't they thing kind of going on, but at the end of the day, it's nice to see that like there's just this respect between them. And of course, there's Robert Redford. I mean, credibility right there. Now, in terms of directing, I was really, really surprised because the directors of this movie, the Russo brothers, they're most famous for directing episodes of Community and Arrested Development, and they did Yumi and Dupree. So going into this movie, I was thinking, oh god, like we got comedy directors to direct a Captain America movie, and you know what? They are awesome at it. For one, how the heck do these comedy directors direct action so well? It's where were they hiding this? But it's not just the action, also just the political thriller parts. Like they really feels like they did their homework about how to pace a movie like this and how to film action as well. And it's just all really really well directed. Now my problems with the movie, I guess, there's a bit of shaky cam, especially at the beginning, which I kind of wish they didn't do because they prove that they can do like nice big wide shots, and so this shaky cam stuff wasn't that appreciated. Also, the plot is kind of heavy, but that's really how political thrillers go. Like you really do have to pay attention to this movie to really understand every single beat. Although it's not confusing or in any way, it's a bit convoluted. But other than that, man, Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a great, great movie. Steve Rogers is this close to eclipsing Tony Stark as my favorite Avenger, and I don't know, he really might go there after a few days when I keep thinking about this movie. This is a great, great movie. Like I said, it is my third favorite, I guess, next to the Avengers and the first Iron Man. You don't have to be a comic book fan to watch this. It really is its own thing, which is what I love about it. And I don't have to tell you this. Please stay after the credits. And, up till the very end. The very end isn't as good as the one in the middle, but anyway, just stay. So yes, that is my review of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Have you guys seen it yet? And you guys have a lot of time to watch this because it's the only thing showing in theaters now. Alright, so when you do get to watch Captain America: The Winter Soldier, tell me what you thought of it. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What did you hate about it? What did you love about it? Whatever you think, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment and let's have a conversation.